Okay, all ready to go?
I'll start the game.
Are you ready? We did it! And Leave a Like came back. It came back. I thought it was gone, but it works. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the cool stream. I guess we all just watched that state of play. The absolute state of play. I'm not gonna dog it. It was actually quite good this time. I'm surprised. The state of play had some surprises in there for me. I don't know about the world at large. The kind of games I like, the world at large really doesn't like. Hey y'all, who's in here? Who's in here? Can we go ahead and do that though? Can we just make sure we get this going the right way? Let's see if my button works. Right there. Leave that like. Leave that like. I was having a shit day. Everyone wanted something from your boy Hikiko. People I hadn't talked to in a decade just showed up and they joined the dog pile. Hey, can I have some money? Hey, can I have your attention? I'm gonna need you for, a couple hours here. Gonna need you for about 3 whole hours. You want to eat? No, you're not gonna eat. Everyone, it just all came down to once. I don't know what it is about this, Wednesday, end of January. Yeah, 2024, it's been okay so far. But it was a very stressful. I put a sign on my door. I put a sign on my door that's I just do not disturb for any reason. I just don't care. I want to be here on Dondoko Island on the cool stream. No other place but here with you right after the state of play. Let's get into it. Let's say hello to everyone. As you can see, I am day 13 in a Dondoko Island. I'm not going to be talking about Infinite Wealth spoilers, so it's going to be a chill stream with your wholesome Chungus streamer. We got hold on, we got so many people in this chat. Hey, Faith here. Hi, Miles. Been subscribed to you since 2020. Love from Southeast Asia, Indonesia. Hey, if you're still in here, there's a Love Day Lick game that called Indonesia that I've always wanted to talk about, but it hasn't been translated. So Hilltop, if you can hear me, Hilltop, you're looking for a game to translate? Indonesia for the PlayStation 2. Do I have it? Let me get it real quick. Let's show this camera. Indonesia stream. Right here within arm's reach. Always have my copy of Indonesia. Hilltop, are you listening? You asked on X, formerly Twitter, what needs to be translated. Here it is. Indonesia. Indonesia is made by Yoshihiro Kimura, who made Moon. It's kind of like a spiritual successor to Moon. PlayStation 2, Japan only. Big pink box. And I spotted it when I was over there. I played a little bit of it. Let's go. Arthur Lopez, can't wait for the stream to start. Dame, I'm not going to do Dame Dane. Absolutely buzzing after that DS2 trailer, says Garden Back. I'm right there with you. Hey, Team Pandori. Hello, Tunes. WL with the baby hand. 4 clubs. Hey, Hikiko. Nice PJs. Yeah. Just in a plaid shirt. Okay. And a wife beater. Tank. Whatever you want to call it. In my relaxing clothes. Just to de-stress on Dondoko today. Yeah, been so long. There was a whole consoles breaking run, and now we have Yakuza. Love this series. You know, your boy Hikiko, way before all these other people started making their big Yakuza-focused channels, if you've been with HM, the oldest subs in here, I don't even know who's the oldest one in here. I recognize some faces, but you old school HM fans know I was campaigning. I had a little campaign to drag Yakuza West. Dragon Yakuza West was the campaign, and I made like 5 videos. There's like a 5 video. It's on there. It's called the Gaijin of Dojima. That whole series. This is the culmination of my efforts, right? This is after all these years. It finally came true, and this is the perfect game. I'm on chapter 9, I think, in the story, but I'm only on day 13 on Dondoko. So, with that said, any outstanding business? We'll be talking about everything. Oh, can you tell? Can you tell I was ready? This is my PlayStation. This is a PlayStation E3 Experience Cup, exclusive cup. I was ready for the stream today. All right, so I'm playing this on the Steam Deck. This is at 1200 by 800 resolution, medium graphics, and I capped it down to 30 frames. I may cap it back up to 60. It typically hovers around 40 on the Steam Deck, but I've been playing a ton of it on the Steam Deck. I also play it on my PC. This is like the first game in some time that I actually bought full price on the PC. I didn't go crazy, okay? I didn't buy the New Game Plus. I didn't buy any of the other extraneous DLC. I just bought the basic game, and I will say it is worth it. You just get a ton of content. I believe RGG Studios said that there was about 300 hours if you wanted to do everything. And now that I'm at Chapter 9, I totally know what they're talking about. The game really opens up the further you play in. So if you're getting kind of bored or things are just taking a while to get going, I say the good balance is do about 3 or 4 side quests, then do a story mission, and keep doing the story mission until the next chapter, and then more streamlining things will unlock. Okay, so let me explain to you newbies out there what I'm doing, what the purpose of today's stream is. We're down and dirty in Dondoko. Dondoko Island is the Animal Crossing mode within Infinite Wealth here. And it unlocks, I think it unlocks in like Chapter 5. Okay, I don't mean to spoil, but I was just waiting. I'm like, when's it going to unlock? When's it going to unlock? Chapter 5. And it kind of takes place in its own economy and its own day-night cycle that is unaffected by the main story mode. It's just like a completely separate game. And it's an old abandoned resort island that is filled with trash. There are these trash pirates that are using it as a dump. And then you have to go and clear the land and bring this resort, Dondoko Resort, back to its former glory and make it even better. And you can also get like Dondoko Bucks, which convert to US dollars sometime down the road, but it's really good. And yeah, you have a lot of different factors at play. So mainly it breaks down to you have daily missions, like catch a certain amount of bugs, cut down a certain amount of trees, catch fish. You do daily missions. You also have tourists that come to the island, and you have to make them happy and make it more appealing. So we're going to see, I have a new lodge, but we're preparing arrival. So I got 3 current campers, and then I can have up to 7 campers total because I've built enough lodges here. And then this is just kind of like my general goals here. I got to get the satisfaction up to like C, where it says C rank over there. I got to get that up, the popularity up, clear out the fields, and win a battle at the lake. So those are my objectives to get to a 3-star resort. So right now I'm currently at a 2-star. And there are some other like objectives too. So like this is Dondoko Island. Like the top, you can see there's more areas to clear. It's pretty long. And then yeah, I can build things. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to do a little crash course of the island. So yeah, they're just giving me a recap on what I need to do. We'll skip ahead. Oh yeah, so now I've unlocked, I guess, the Dondoko farm. And I guess I'll have somebody that I can hire to tend to that. You got a limited time. When it gets nightfall, you have to return home. If you return home, you recover HP. There are some battles on Dondoko Island. Like, Infinite Wealth is insane. There's like 20 different side objectives, like games within the game. There's like a whole Pokemon thing called Sujimon too that I haven't even started. I've captured things, but I haven't battled anyone. Okay, so I guess there's sub-islands within the main island. And I can ride that, but I don't want to do that right now. They're going to make me do it, though. Thoughts on the English dub? I'm playing the Japanese dub, but because this is a bilingual game, as it takes place in Hawaii, sometimes it cuts in with English at random times. Or it's a Japanese person that's like ESL, So it's just kind of a broken English too. And it's all random, and you never know who's going to speak English or Japanese. And you know, I've just rolled with it. I kind of like it, though. It's a very surreal feeling. Okay, so this is my farm. I just unlocked the farm. And I guess these will be the crew. The farmers. Oh, 4 clubs. All I need to know is that Ichiban exudes a very strong, literally me energy. I wonder what that's in reference to. I'm just stating facts. There's nothing wrong with stating facts. This has been happening to me for a decade. And because I relate to a character, I'm just telling the truth. The trolls were coming down on me. I'm literally Ichiban. I love how I start the stream and then it throws me into one of the most like longest diatribes to set me up for a whole nother mode within the mode that I was already ready to play. Here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and skip the scene. I know that's sacrilege, but some of these scenes will go on for literally 20 minutes, telling me the same point in 10 different ways, reiterating all the key details that I already know. Everyone has to say, like, hey, it's like, what's going on with Kiryu? Oh, Kiryu? What's going on with him? Yeah, Kiryu-san. Oh, yeah, the Dragon of Dojima. Yeah, well, I wonder what's up with him. Yeah, Kiryu-san. And then it goes around the table. So I'm not going to do this part just yet. I'm going to sail back to the mainland because I don't want to do this right now. All right. So this is the mainland. You collect things. You can chop things down. I have a bat. My bat is my multi-tool. It busts rocks, it chops down trees, it stops pirates. It's all you need. You gather materials like you would in any other crafting game. And you can build decorations or stores. Like there's a burger shop that I'm trying to save up enough supplies for. But this is what it looks like running on the Steam Deck. I've been playing it mostly on the Steam Deck. I play like all the main story quests on my PC when I'm home. But when I'm out and about, it lasts a while. I think I get about, I want to say, 4.5 hours of gameplay, depending on what settings I have. Right now I've chopped it down to 30 frames, but I can kick it up to 60. I don't know if that would make all that much of a difference on YouTube. But it's smooth. Even I play a lot of other games on the Steam Deck, but this is probably my most played game ever now. I just got the Steam Deck in December, so I haven't had it a long time. I sold some old camera equipment that I had, and I got it off of like the Facebook Marketplace. And this guy, like, all told, I spent probably $150 of my own money. Like, because I just sold some old shit that I had lying around. And so, yeah, for $150, it's the best portable I've ever owned. It's definitely worth it so far. You can't rely on anyone else but Nintendo nowadays to release a portable, and allegedly the Switch 2 is coming out this year, but I don't know how they're going to top the Steam Deck. I mean, all they've got really are their exclusive games. Like, they'd have to have some improvements to backwards compatibility. Like, if they can make Deadly Premonition 2 run at a stable 30 frames at least, maybe I might be interested. Alright, so you see these little sub-objectives here. I'm going to grab some resources, so when you clear the land, All the junk goes over to this place. And you get materials. I gotta sell an item to the merchant over here. Matayoshi. And I might upgrade my bat again. Because the bat is just the best tool. We'll sell him a cockroach. Just one. Alright. And then this guy over here is the carpenter. His name's Kinzo. So you can either purchase like more lodgings, but I already have one that's kind of empty. You can upgrade tools, or you can expand Ichiban's house. So I'm not going to do that just yet because I still have space in there. But I'm going to upgrade the bug net for 50k. So faster swings on the bug net. And I've already upgraded the harpoon. But there's so many things. As I said, this is a game within a game. But it is... When I first unlocked this, I spent 2 days straight just playing Dondoko Island. And no regrets. It's fantastic. So this is one of my visitors here. They're satisfied. I'm just going to give them a mushroom. I've been giving them all mushrooms lately. They seem to enjoy it. Is this how people live life in Hawaii? I don't know. I've been to Yokohama. I can tell you about Yokohama. I can't tell you about Hawaii. I'd love to go to Hawaii. Keep this up, says Cow. I'm going to. Upgrade the harpoon. Can you go whaling? That would be very Japanese. I'm not sure. I saw some huge fish on the southern part of the island, but I've got to invest in a bridge to get to the fishing spot. All right, so here's all the crafting. As you can see, there's a variety of materials. You can craft them here at your bench, and then you can lay them almost anywhere on the island and inside your house. So I'm going to build this big snake. This is what the good life should have been. So I got a big snake. And then you level up your crafting ability and you unlock new blueprints. Let's see what else. There are some things that'll make you money when you craft it, like vending machines. Well, let's get an ATM so they can get out more money. And what else? I'm going to craft a few things for Ichiban's house. I like the taco mask statue. We'll put this outside in the front yard. Hell yeah. What else could I use? We got an inflatable mattress. That could be used for a pool. Oh, here we go. Dondoko statue. We'll craft 2 of those. A matching pair. We're whalers on the moon. We carry our harpoons. That's an old one. Alright, anything else? I was building a playground, so I got a couple of playground equipment pieces at the lighthouse. I'm going to turn that into like a recreation area, so let's see. I don't think there's any more kid stuff that I have. Well, let's just go play some stuff. The first thing is we're going to go place that big snake. So I recently cleared out this area up here. This is the lighthouse area. And I decided to turn it into like a children's park area. That's the theme. So this whole area over here is my park in progress. You can reach into your bag. Oh, dang it. I got to go in storage. Do we got a storage tank over here? I collected too many things. That's all right. We're not too far away. So yeah, this is running on my Steam Deck. If it looks like it's a weird resolution, that's why. I just wanted to show off the Steam Deck in case anyone was curious on how this game ran on there. Alright, we can get rid of basically everything. Alright, that's enough. Now, we get everything out. Gotta go drop off the kid and work. Have fun, y'all. See you later, Team Pandori. Hey, what's up, Kodai? Good to see ya. So far, though, the story mode is fantastic. Without spoiling anything, I got to a spot, so I was anticipating today's stream. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to play a little bit of the story, and then we'll just go straight to Dondoko Island for the stream today. And then I got locked into a quest that locked out Dondoko Island. So I couldn't really... I had to, like, speed through the story mode to get back here. So there's a lot of side quests and stuff that I'm going to have to clean up later today, but that's all right. So I got this big snake for the kids. It's for the kids. Kids like snakes. We're going to chop down some trees, get some lumber, get some shrooms. I'm gonna find a place to put those dragons. You guys like my cows? I don't know why I chose that spot, but it works. All right. We're gonna put these guys. We'll put one here, and we'll put one right there. So, as things go along, you get more popularity. Your island draws in more tourists. And then each of the tourists like has their own wants and needs. So occasionally you'll have to like craft things and drop them on the island to make them happy or give them a certain gift. It's a bit like Animal Crossing. I find this to be a lot more difficult than Animal Crossing because you're really under the wire. The days are just super short on Dondoko. I'm not sure if I can influence that in any way later on. But that's okay. I'd rather have too much to do than too little to do. I usually get bored kind of easy with Animal Crossing. Like, I'll pay off my mortgage, and then I'll be like, okay, I've done everything I set out to do. And then I'll dip out. So this is an area right here where those huge fish are. But to build this bridge, it's 200,000 Dondoko Bucks. So I'm going to save up for those. And we will get ourselves one of the best fishing spots, allegedly. Why is Ichiban rebuilding Hawaii? This is not Hawaii. This is a separate abandoned theme park, I guess. Dondoko Island. It used to be a big hit in the 80s. And then a bunch of trash pirates like these tore up the place. And then it got delisted. It got closed down until Ichiban rode a dolphin over here and decided to help him out. So, that's kind of the setup. It really doesn't need too much of a story beyond that, does it? He rode a big dolphin over here and decided to help him out. So I need 3 furnishings for Ichiban's bachelor pad here. Let's get ourselves an arcade cabinet. We'll be playing some Dig Dug. There's another mini game within like Dragon Infinite Wealth that I absolutely love. Minor spoilers. It's called Crazy Delivery, which is a Crazy Taxi parody, and it's fantastic. It's like Uber Eats on a bicycle, and and it has sick tricks and high-flying stunts. What else can we put in there? Pepper wants inside. Should we get this jacuzzi? Yeah, let's get a jacuzzi. Let's live it up. Living that good life. Swagmaster Keke. Oh, are we at that part of the stream where I talk about the state of play? Are we at that part of the stream where I ramble on about my just indifference to Sony in general? I will say there were some things that appealed to me about that. I'm trying to think. I don't remember much from the beginning of the state of play. I just remember like the last few things. The first thing they showed off, Silent Hill related, was something called Silent Hill Short Message, which is one of the worst kept secrets. These Silent Hill projects, just projects in general, just have a habit of leaking like way earlier than like any news is about to transpire. Like, I think I knew about Short Message back in 2022, I want to say. All the leaks were accurate for the most part. So it doesn't look great. It doesn't look my taste, we'll say. I really don't like horror games where the protagonist has verbal diarrhea. It's just a big pet peeve of mine. Like, things can be scary without you telling me every fucking thought in your head. Just let the atmosphere breathe. Like, just let it, give it a rest. I think I made that point when I was talking about my Silent Hill 2 thoughts whenever the first trailer came out. That was my biggest concern about the remake, is they would just have some motor-mouth James. And from the more recent trailer, they didn't. At least as far as I've seen, they showed some restraint, which is fantastic. Because I was worried about that. I mean, like, in certain context, in like story-centric games, you know, where there's drama and stuff, yeah, it can work. You can have a bit of dialogue. This game has plenty of dialogue to go around. But in survival horror, the main thing for me is the immersion in the world, you know? Like, don't be throwing out any pop references. Don't be using licensed music. You know, what made the original Silent Hill games so, what wrapped you in the atmosphere was just like the silence itself, the time you had to think and consider like what was around the corner. What was that bump I just heard, you know? Like, you're already thinking that. You have an internal monologue, hopefully, thinking those thoughts. You don't need James to also express those at the same time, in my opinion. So, in that trailer, whatever it was, like early look at the gameplay, James was mostly silent. And that was a good sign to me. It means Bloober remembered that not all survival horror protagonists just have nonstop commentary on the situation. Like, yeah, you can have expressions, gasps, maybe a scream, maybe panic sets in. But, like, you know, you don't need sarcastic bolt cutter quips. I can't get over that shit. Like, why? Like, I don't need levity in the situation. Like, levity is for a game like Yakuza. Yakuza's funny. They have good writers that know how to have a setup and a punchline. I don't want horror writers trying to be James Gunn. Just, no. So, from what I saw of the Silent Hill 2 remake trailer, looks like they're incorporating more of like Homecoming's combat, which personally, I didn't mind. I thought Homecoming was kind of fun in a bad kind of sloppy way. I'll have to see like how things feel like in the flow of the game before I like lay down any criticisms upon it. But it looks like they tried to modernize the battle system, the fighting, if you whatever you want to call it, the combat. what I didn't like is they had a giant QTE. It was just like some generic looking X button in the center of the frame, which was weird. That reminds me a lot of Homecoming. Homecoming had like these, like if you were playing on 360, you had these like bright blue candy looking buttons. You know, it just didn't match the like the UI didn't match the situation, if you will. Kind of looked like a Fisher-Price toy popping up on the screen or something like that. It was a bit out of the ordinary. So I hope that like the QTEs are, the UI on that is, you know, touched up a bit, or at least have the option to turn off QTEs or something like that. I know that a lot of developers feel kind of insecure on how they want to present action, and they kind of like want to sequence it in such a way to where the QTE takes care of a lot of the math problems. But for me, I don't know. I would either like, you know, scale back on the need for QTEs, or at least make them more subtle or something like that. There's other ways to do it than a big flashing button, I feel. I'm trying to think of what game that did it really well, like where it was just a sparkle or something. I don't know. Slips my mind. Look jank as fuck. Why does the camera pan when you attack? Ben, I don't think it's like anywhere near completion. And what tipped me off on that was at the very end of the trailer, it said in development. And it's been in development for, I want to say, since after the Medium. And then the Medium was like 3 years ago, I think. So it's a long development time for a remake, especially, that's already established. So they probably underwent like a major overhaul in some way. The in-game cinematics that we saw in the first trailer certainly didn't match the actual game graphics. So you could tell that like it's not even near the polishing stage at all. Some of the lighting was flat as well. But as I said, like I don't consider it the end of the world if Silent Hill 2 isn't everything I hoped it would be. Like I'm still very excited that Silent Hill's getting another chance at all. And I think that Silent Hill 2 is probably the easiest framework to follow, because survival horror games have been following that same framework since Downpour's the last one, I think, or Book of Memories. In that gap, there's been many Silent Hill clones or PT clones, so a lot of people aping the bit. You have a lot of the original team members involved. I want to know like how much Konami is like really pushing Bloober away from their format and more towards something traditional or not. It's hard to say. Like everyone just kind of throwing their own speculatory hat in there. I just have a feeling that it's going to be all right. I express that much. The thing is about being a part of the Silent Hill community is you have the eternal pessimists, and they've been there, and I was one of them, and they would rather the series be dead than ever get another chance. And for the longest time, I thought that's what I wanted. But I think it was because I was so mad early on because the Western Silent Hills came out, and they weren't anywhere as good as the original Team Silent Productions. But when I looked back at what these other teams tried to do, there was something I found in each of them that I appreciate to some degree. Like Shattered Memories, I was told that was one of the shittiest games ever, and that I should avoid it and never play it. And I think I picked it up I don't know, 5 years after it came out, something like that, on clearance at GameStop. And I was like, I'm going to cynically play this, just for the lulz or something. And I ended up loving it. And I ran through it 3 times in one day. I loved it. And I still go back and I play that one. And I feel like everyone in the Silent Hill community has different expectations and standards, if you will. And they've been spending 20 years. It's like a college classical literature course, like where people are, the professor's in the room. He already knows how the story begins, ends, all the influences, everything. Like he's spent his whole professional life, teaching the same 4 books, right? And in this case, it's Silent Hill 1 through 4. So there's no surprises. But then there are all these new people that are trying to suck up to the professor and read between the lines and apply like a modern lens to it, or, look for things that aren't really there about it, or elevate it to these standards that will just never be met again. So a lot of cynicism has kind of poisoned any sort of discussion regarding the Western titles, regarding anything Bloober Team has ever made. Like, I didn't think the medium was perfect, but I had things about it that I'm like, this has potential. This could have legs if they tweak these things here and there. When you start getting into that whole black-pilled mindset, like where everything is like, it's impossible to come back, and, modern media is so woke, and modern medium, it's just like, it's never coming back. Like, we're in what we call stuck culture, where people just keep remaking things and making things over and over again. Well, sadly, that's how kind of the world is. Big companies don't like to take bets like they used to. And you kind of have to accept what's coming down the pipeline sometimes, even though it's not exactly what you might have wanted. Like, I know for a fact the new Silent Hill games are probably not going to be geared towards me, like somebody who played the originals. Like, I think I was like in the 4th grade when the first Silent Hill game came out. I mean, it's been a long time, that series, right? And multiple generations of Silent Hill fans have come into the community. You got to understand, the longer a franchise goes on, everyone has a different entry point into said franchise. And for many people, the most accessible way into the franchise is through those movies. So you have a lot of people who just don't really have the same kind of lore investment in it, right? You have people that just passively, like, they recognize certain things. They recognize Pyramid Head, right? They might recognize Silent Hill 2 stuff because they watched Markiplier play it at one point, right? Or Jacksepticeye. And, like, if you're going to go ahead and say the new games are trash, then you better be prepared to gatekeep the fuck out of everything else. Because you gotta, it's too late, okay? Everyone's showing up. They have these expectations that it's gonna be spooky like the movie, that Pyramid Head's gonna show up and swing his big old great knife around. For me, I don't want the same Silent Hill 2. I think the more they try and replicate the original, the less interested I am in the project. Like, I don't want beat for beat the same game, because the game's been out for over 20 years. Everyone knows every trick in its bag at that point. That's kind of like the modern problem with remakes. Like, I just recently played a remake that I wasn't 100% satisfied with. But I had to, like, give myself some time to make sure it wasn't just nostalgia bias. Give myself enough time to process what the fuck I just played. And I'll be talking about that game here shortly. Not on stream, but in a video soon. But Silent Hill 2, I really don't think it can go any lower. Like, the franchise is already scraping the bottom of the barrel. I had no expectations for Ascension at all, but from what little things I've absorbed via osmosis and just seeing things I've seen on Twitter, like, I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I expected it to be. I expected it to be one of those interactive pay-to-win or pay-to-influence games, and that's exactly what it was. So, no surprises there. The Silent Hill 2 remake can only surprise me. Could it be good? Could it be bad? Is it going to be the same thing? Just a mediocre reinterpretation? I don't know. But I'm not willing to like just completely cast it off. I don't know. Just because like I may not prefer things to be a certain way doesn't mean that there isn't an audience for it and that there isn't a future for it or there isn't room to grow, if you will. Because like my old style of thinking was very gatekeep the fuck out of it. New fans ruin things. They don't know what's good about a franchise. And I'd rather my favorite franchise be dead than ever come back. And I also thought, like, well, forever's a long time. Forever's a long time, and it's going to happen. Everything you love and cherish will eventually be remade in some way or exploited in some way. So let's hope for the best, because no one's gonna like keep a thing dead forever, right? So I'm just gonna go in with an open mind. Like, there's no point in me airing all my complaints because Konami's not gonna listen to them. The only thing that I really hope they don't do is just make James into a motor mouth. If they do that, then I'll probably be like, okay, it's trash. But beyond that, I'm gonna go in and give it a shot, and that's that. How do you feel? Brandon Marks says, how do you feel about CRT gaming in the retro scene? We won't get risky games in this era anymore like the PS1 era. I don't think that's necessarily a true statement. Your last statement there. I think we do get good games. It's just that they're impossible to find. Curation is just... It's a nightmare, okay? I consider myself somewhat of a video game curator, right? I go out, I play things, I report back on what I've seen or what I experienced, right? And there are only so many like top curators out there that everyone listens to, and then there's niche ones like where we all kind of like exist in our own vacuum. I feel that there's a ton of great content out there in the indie scene, especially as I've been digging deeper into Steam. But it's just hard to find. It's hard to stand out. It's hard to stand out in any medium, let alone video games. Like, about 10 years ago, maybe a little longer, indie games were kind of a novelty. Like stuff like Braid and Fez and Meat Boy. Anything from an indie game, the movie, essentially. That wasn't really done a lot at that time. You know, Steam Greenlight didn't exist. So the best time to come out with your cool creative idea was 10 years ago. Now, all the people that were inspired by that realm of indie game developers, new tool sets have come out, new engines as well. I believe Godot seems to be the new meme right now. All these things kind of splinter off into their own factions, and people start like pandering to specific niches. Like, this is a game for people who like Pokemon and guns. You catch my drift? It's like this meets that. And a lot of modern indie games, and I'm not going to paint with too broad a brush here, but a lot of them are aping on a pre-existing bit. And if you have a really, really unique idea, sadly, it won't gain a lot of traction because human nature, people don't like the unfamiliar. I don't know how to solve that. On my channel especially, I've tried tirelessly to recommend good indie games. I have a whole video about 24 Killers, one of the best indie games I played all last year. The best indie game I played all last year. The game kicks so much ass, and the people who watch my channel would absolutely love it, but I don't know how many people actually convinced to try it out, or how many actually went out there and bought it because of my video. Or even, like, you know, it scares people away from even watching the video itself because it's unfamiliar. It's sad that a lot of things just kind of boil down into comfort. You know, people just don't want to take a new chance on something. They want the security of an already established idea, you know, piggybacking on something. And I wish I had an answer to that. The good stuff is out there. You just may be looking in the wrong places, if that makes sense. And we'll put a little sink right there. This is my whole bathroom area. That was the first thing I ever built here. I feel the bathroom's the most critical piece of any establishment. An amusement park. I've played a lot of Sims in my time where I've let people live in hovels without bathrooms just for fun. But not this time. We'll put... I think this is a foot-based washer. Or a bucket filler. That's a bucket filler. It's really shaping up now. Let's build something huge. What do we got here? So I've been targeting... oh, there's a pawn shop? I can just straight up build a pawn shop? There was a burger joint right here, Smile Burger. So I need some more plastics. I'm going to save up for some more. Let's go get some more plastics, and we're going to have our own burger shop. True. Brandon Mark says, yeah, I watch your channel to learn about hard-to-find games. Thank you for introducing me to Onion Games. Oh, there's a new Onion game coming out. Stray Children. That comes out this year, at least in Japan. So... you know I'm going to be checking that out for sure. I'm excited about that. And Brandon, to answer your question about the retro gaming scene, you know, as I've grown older, you start to like look back at the games you grew up playing, okay? And I never stopped. Like, I still play PlayStation 2 regularly. I play Nintendo GameCube, and I guess Wii, is Wii retro yet? I'm really stuck in the 7th generation of games, if you haven't noticed already, with my PlayStation 3 videos and 360 and stuff. That's kind of my era. PS2 and that whole era, too. And, of course, I love the NES. I love Super Nintendo and all that junk. But because of the resolutions that were used at the time, CRT is often the best choice you can go with. That's also the most affordable and not nitpicky. Oh, hey! $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Brandon. Hey, Hikiko, longtime viewer. First time a live cool stream. What is your take on the whole Yang Ye situation, him voicing Kiru? Well, dang. Thanks, Brandon, for the $5. You know, this is not a good time to be making enemies with Yang Ye. I don't know Yang Ye personally. This is my only interaction with Yang Ye. When I made my C-Bomb video, Yang Ye made a video on my video talking about the exact same points in my video, but as Yang Ye. So, that's it. That's all I know about him. I did hear all the clips that were posted about his voice acting. I don't know why they would reach out to YouTubers for any kind of voice acting. Let me be completely clear here. Somebody has actually reached out to me a couple of times to do some voice acting, and it was for an indie game called the Jackbox Games. And I've been acting ever since. I don't know how to feel about that. Like, it's not a jealousy thing. Like, good for him. Good for Yang Ye for landing his dream or whatever. But he has to also realize like what is being said and how people feel about that. Like on some level, he's got to understand like how precious the character of Kazuma Kiryu is to people. On some level, he had to know this reaction was coming. Like even if he produced like the most like one-to-one, like as far as English goes, sounding Kiryu, like deep voice, I can't do it, Kiryu. You know, I couldn't do it. Like I would say no. If somebody offered me personally Kiryu, I'd be like, nah. Maybe Majima. I could do Majima. Kiryu-san. Offer me Majima, but don't put me in the most masculine, stoic role ever crafted. Put me in something wild. Like, give me a side quest kind of thing. Let's pretend it's the ukulele Kickstarter, and you want to get an e-celebrity on board. You put me in the JonTron equivalent role, and then write me out later. But that's where you put me. Like, I wouldn't mind if you put him as, like, you know, a supplementary character. There's plenty of voiced roles to go around in the Like a Dragon Yakuza series, you know? We don't need to be, like, coming straight out of the gate. Like, let's cast the most iconic character in this long-running franchise with this YouTuber that maybe only Americans might know, or Western people. I don't know. I honestly, I can't speak for Yang Yang as a content creator. I've just never... He's not in my algorithm, if that makes sense. What Brandon was talking about, the retro gamers and stuff, that's probably more of my algorithm, okay? That's probably more of what I watch. I tend not to watch current event stuff because I just read the news. And I process it for myself. I don't need a bird to chew it up and feed it to me. But that's me. People are built differently. I just if it helps the game in any way, like if somebody walked into GameStop specifically because Yang Ye, their favorite YouTuber, was voicing somebody and it sold more copies, then sure, might have been a good business decision. But I think, if anything, it could be a positive thing. Let's put a spin on this. Let's put a positive spin on Yang Ye's voice acting. It may actually encourage people to play the Japanese dub or the Japanese original audio, right? And read subtitles. He may be encouraging people to read for a change. So, good man, Yang Ye. Good guy, Yang Ye. What if that's like his, you know, four-dimensional chess move there? Was Yang Ye's a big literacy advocate, so he delivers the most shitty performance he can in the English dub, and people just flip on the subs. Hey, what's up, Master Chief? But yeah, like I think that's going to become far more common. I got a buddy of mine that's really big into the Payday franchise, and I think H3H3 were characters in that at some point. Yogg's Cast. Do you remember Yogg's Cast? Yogg's Cast was in Sonic and the All-Stars Racing for some reason. Like, this shit isn't necessarily new. It's just gonna happen more. Here's a good example. One of the first YouTubers that I ever knew that got cast in something, and got cast in a lot of things actually, was Ashley Birch. Ashley and her brother Anthony Wii U Cuck Birch. Ashley and her brother Anthony Birch had a YouTube series or a video series, an e-series, we'll say, called Hey Ash, What You Playin'? And I think they got started in like 2007 or so. And now Ashley has been a part of like almost everything. So she made the transition to video game voice actress just fine. Like, it can be done. I'm not gonna poo-poo on the whole thing. But you know, get some voice acting lessons, take direction well. Do it for the right reasons. Don't do it for your ego, because it will show. Hikiko could have been in The Good Life if he paid a bit more. I already paid way too much. There's potentially a dead guy in that game. There's potentially a dead guy that paid $10,000, I believe, or maybe more. That paid $10,000, and he also may have been the drummer from the movie The School of Rock, and then died before he got to see his character in the game. Allegedly. That was one of the wildest revelations about my whole research into that. I still haven't gotten clarification on that matter either. Oh yeah, LGR, Jeremy, Clint from Lazy Game Reviews, he voiced a Duke Nukem cameo in Black Mesa. Black Mesa is the Half-Life 1 Source Engine remake. I think it was like made by fans at first, and then it officially got picked up by Valve at some point. I think. Don't quote me on that. Clint is his name. Yeah, he does a very interesting Duke Nukem. I don't know if I could do Duke like he does Duke. I've got balls of steel. Anytime I have like a sore throat or something, you know, when your voice gives out, either you've been talking too much or you just got like, you know, an upper respiratory cold, Duke Nukem is the first voice I go to. We are getting a Smile Burger on this island. I told you. And we have ranked up quite a bit too. We got a film theater, a brown shelf, a urinal, rice cooker, can't leave home without it, ramen cart. So these are things that will bring in money to Dondoko as well. So I'm very excited about that. I got to increase my cash flow. I could put the Smile Burger like right here next to the bathrooms. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll take these street lights and we'll space them out just a bit more, just closer to the side. Just push them up just a square. Push her up just a square. Okay, let's see here. We'll just pull this burger joint out of my pocket and we'll see how it goes. Yeah, that should be okay. Big annoyance. I got all that blank space there though. I don't feel good about that. Let's see if I can move it over to the other part of the island. Like right over here should be fine. I don't see why not. We already kind of got a commercial thing going. Hey, that's a good match. Look at the reputation. Dang. Yeah, I like that. That's a good spot for it. I'm going to put some barrels out here just to feng shui it a bit. Put a couple of inconspicuous barrels. I can't put it in the shadow of the building. That's weird. Okay. I can put it on the side. We'll put it right here. And we'll put one right next to it. Cool. And then I've got a sign. We'll just we'll find a spot for that. Put it right in front of the bench so no one can sit down. Just need a gap. Just looking for a gap. Perfect. That was one of the objectives, and I got to create a souvenir, which I've been neglecting to do. There's a little boy on the island, and that's his job. No labor laws on Dondoko. You craft souvenirs, and then you can give them as gifts to the visitors. And you get a new crafting material. Let's see. LGR is the new CGR, says Master Chief Snake. Didn't CGR come back? Somebody told me last time I was streaming that CGR came back. I really don't know. I unsubscribed from him like after he rebranded the channel 5 times and then started like drawing comics and then making music and odd things. So if he's back, I'll go subscribe to him. Just let me know. We're going to develop some Dondoko chips. And we're going to do the bridge, because I did get some money for the bridge. I don't have enough materials for any of that. Okay. Well, we'll make some bikinis. We'll just give them to everyone that I see. Alright, sounds good. I need to build that bridge, though, before I forget. It's very easy to get sidetracked on Dondoko. Unless you're my buddy Mark, who 5-starred it in like one day. But he's built differently. Alright, you want a gift, buddy? Here, have a rainbow bug. That was worth 35,000. Alright, we'll get him started here. 200k. Is it going to be built instantly, I wonder? It was! That's cool. And then there's trash bandits over here. I miss Undertow too, Reluctant. That Derek guy who ran Undertow was something else. He was a bit of an odd duck. But I think he still has a job in film from what I remember. Like I saw an interview with him. It was like it fed to me through the algorithm. He's still alive. I think his name is Derek Buck. He had like the long blonde hair and stuff. And he had a very like cartoonish voice. And I don't mean that in a negative way because I too have a very cartoonish voice. But very distinct candor about him. And yeah, I watched I think back in the day I watched a lot more Undertow because it covered more of the games I was interested in, like just the really odd shovelware and crap like that. I don't know the whole story on why Undertow was shut down. I think the gist of everything was like every YouTube channel makes the same mistake. I'm going to tell you what it is. Hey, Brandon, again with the $4.99. Thank you so much, buddy. I'm going to head out, but the last thing I wanted to ask is what are your thoughts on Persona 3 Reload? I know you've talked about the series before. Yeah, I like Persona 3 Portable on the PSP. It's a really good like Persona 3, what is this, like the 4th time this has been remade? I think it's a third or fourth time this has been remade because it was remade P3P. It was remade as FES. I don't know. It's been redone so many times. Personally, I'm probably not going to play it for a long time. Mainly because like this is my big RPG for right now, Infinite Wealth. Just like whenever they released like the beginning of the year, so many RPGs back to back, it's like I have to choose. Am I going to play Persona 3 Reload or am I going to play Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth? You know, and then Infinite Wealth on top of that. So I may check it out, but I'm really trying to be good about my backlog this year. And I'm so hooked on Infinite Wealth that I really don't have any other games in mind at the moment. So maybe on down the road, but no immediate plans. Thank you for your super chat. Reluctant, back on the CGR thing and what happened with Undertow. Every big YouTube channel makes this mistake. When you grow really fast all at once and all the big money's coming in, you start building your infrastructure of your channel. Like, you start hiring people, like 10 people. We just recently saw this with the completionist, had a whole staff, and then some big controversy happens, and then everyone's out of work, essentially. I think CGR didn't have like the same kind of momentum. Like, I don't know what it is, because he existed through at least 2 decades of YouTube, and YouTube has like dramatically changed. Like, every year it seems there's some big controversial change, or the algorithm doesn't favor certain content, and thumbnails and really dumb, deceptive titles are being pushed. Like, you hear all these content creators lamenting, like, yeah, I don't mean to make clickbait titles, but that's what the algorithm like, right? So I think the same thing happened with CGR. Is like, he caught lightning in a bottle a couple of times, and then like, whenever you do that, you tend to want to like just constantly produce the same amount of content and just keep pushing it until like there's nothing left to either talk about, or people move on and they get bored of it. Like, there are people that tell me all the time, like, you just need to upload more. And uploading more, like, it's like something's got to give. Like, the quality's either got to come down, and I can't do as much research or get all my thoughts out or capture all the footage the way I want to describe a scene, or, you know, put my actual heart into it, you know? So it's like, if I output more, that means I'm making like shorter videos with like less passion. And that's giving into the churn. That's not that I'm like protesting anything, but I'm just saying, like, I don't want YouTube to be that way, personally. That's not my style of production. I think that has led me to burnout before, when I tried to do too much, or get over ambitious on a certain thing. I find that slow and steady, having time to distance myself from the edit, having time to add better things, like come up with better ideas and, you know, fill out the content in a meaningful way, instead of just being like, ladies and gentlemen, here's the newest thing in the news today, and these are my thoughts and feelings. Now, some people take side A, and some people take input B, and I'm somewhere in between A and B, but I really just want to wait and see how things pan out. I have nothing to add to current topic or current event, or I'm just going to completely contradict myself, like, later down the road. When I put out something, I want to be sure about it. I want to be sure that I like it. I'm happy with it enough that I didn't just phone it in, that I gave it my best shot. Because, like, these big YouTubers that come out here and they start building these production studios, these editing farms, like, where they get a bunch of like young people, and it's always young, impressionable people. It's just like grooming in another sense. But they get all these like young editors or young talent or whatever, and they give them like grunt work for the first time. And sometimes people just don't deal with they don't like the grunt stuff. They want to be the face, right? But only one person on a channel can be the face, really. There's not too many of those, you know, ensemble casts out there. So egos get in the way, and the grind gets in the way. Like, just the hustle about YouTube. And I think, like, CGR expanded, like, way too quick. And I think they had, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 channels. And each channel was, like, trying something different. They weren't, like, all under the same main umbrella. And I think they were renting out a warehouse of some kind. Like, Mark had a fucking El Camino or something, and a warehouse with a disco ball and an entire arcade. Am I misremembering that? Isn't that what happened? This dude had like an El Camino, an entire arcade, a disco lamp, and an office. Like, you know, I think they saw themselves as Red Letter Media or something like that. The difference between like Red Letter Media and somebody like producing video game content is like Red Letter Media, they have all the footage right there. Like the movie is already sequenced. It's easy to mark where things happened. In a game, it's like much more involved, right? If you want your commentary to match what the footage is, right? And everyone at Red Letter Media is a talented editor. Like they all know how to edit or how to be in front of a camera, how to set up the audio, how to build the sets. Like they have other experience that lends itself to being a production warehouse for content. I think a lot of YouTubers that have big dreams, they look at somebody like Red Letter Media or that kind of structure and think that they can have that same dynamic. But the thing is, like, you're lucky. You are lucky if you have friends that share your same dream on anything, let alone YouTube or content creation. But you have these people that are united under the same banner. They've been friends for decades. They know the ins and outs of running a business because they have worldly experience too. A lot of these YouTubers don't go out into the field. Like they don't grind a 9-to-5 job and then come home and turn on the camera and stream or talk about something. So sometimes they're only used to times of thick, right? Times of thick. But when times of thin come by, they melt the fuck down. And you're seeing a lot of that. We are entering a time of thin. Peak saturation on YouTube. More channels than eyeballs to watch them, probably. You have, just like any sort of pyramid, if you will, you have the people up top, that draw in the most viewers. And then everyone just kind of fighting over the leftovers, if you will. Not to, like, call you all leftovers. I'm glad you're here. But as far as I've been on YouTube, I go in, like, with minimal expectations. Like, do I wish my videos, got millions of views? Yeah, it would be great. It would probably make a lot more things in my life easier. But I can't, like, tie my whole worth. I can't tie my whole motivation around like a kind of random elements, right? The audience grows up, the audience changes, new people come, old people go. It's just the flow of things. You either accept it or you just have a meltdown moment and you end up in Mexico running from the law. Wondering where the fuck it went wrong. We were ironically enough, I was talking about Game Dude, and now like somebody else put out a big Game Dude video or what have you. I don't know who it was, but it's odd how like the same stories and the same content just gets recycled over and over and over again. It's just like the garbage patch in the Indian Sea. Just like old garbage goes out and then somehow comes back. Like I thought, has there been any developments with Game Dude? Has he been found? Has he resurfaced? Let's see. You mentioning RLM reminded me that previously recorded was a thing. Jeremy, I used to watch previously recorded. I think I was a pay pig, or at least I donated a couple of times. I really enjoyed Rich and Jack at times. Caveat at times. It was, I think Rich kind of likes the same things I do in a video game. His favorite series, I think, is Dead Rising, if I recall. And I became a fan of Rich as a gamer when I watched him play through the Dead Rising 1. And he insisted on playing like all the most excruciatingly hard modes and saving all the survivors and all that stuff. So, yeah, mad love for that. I wish they'd go back to it, but I kind of understand why they don't. I think Jack is now working... No, he's not working for the Escapists, I don't think. I don't think anyone's working for the Escapists. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but I think Jack was associated with them for a period in time. But I don't know. It might have been like D&D content, and I'm not in that world. I don't really know too much about D&D. What else should I do? Should I expand my house? Should I go check that area I unlocked? Let's craft one more thing, and I'm going to go check out that new area I unlocked. We'll get an antenna. How about that? Very nice. 5G for everyone. Oh, yeah. Let's just put it right where people are sleeping. Well, let's make sure all the birds are dropping out of the air. Perfect. Put a little recycle bin. Right. That's a good enough spot for it. Very hard to weed through YouTube. They make it hard to find small YouTubers, says Brandon. I've been actually finding a lot of YouTubers, and this is going to sound really dark, so I hope you're ready for it. And I don't mean this as like a joke. I just don't know what it is about my algorithm. But I end up finding, okay, yesterday was a wild day, but today, like I don't know why, but YouTube recommends me people with terminal diseases. Like, right before this stream, before the state of play, the first thing I noticed in front of my face was an airsoft YouTuber saying, I have an announcement. I have stage 4 terminal cancer. That was the title of his video. And I gotta say, for SEO reasons, that was fantastic. Like, on average, this dude probably got like 1,000 people watching, but this time he got like 400,000 people showed up, and I was one of them. And I see a lot of that. Like, people that I would probably be interested in watching a video by, but they're about to die. YouTube feeds me their channel when it's far too late. What the fuck? You know, next time feed it to me earlier, and maybe I can help pay for some of those bills. Goddamn. So I'm getting a lot of like morbid stuff, and I don't know why that is, because I don't typically seek that stuff out personally. But I will click it just because I'm like, that's sad. Maybe this guy's gonna impart some wisdom, you know, from his short time on the globe. But yeah, I get fed that. I got fed. The funniest thing I got fed was more recently. There was like this random soda pop reviewer, which you know I'm all about. There's this dude with no teeth, and he was reviewing a new sun-kissed soda. It was like, oh, we drinking strawberry and orange soda mix. It's going in, and then he sucked that fucker down. And I watched that whole fucking video because I wanted to know how this meth monkey enjoyed that soda. He was like, tasty. And then his wife or partner or whatever from off camera, also no teeth, like came into frame, and he poured it down her gullet. And they were both just drinking on that Sunkist. And I honestly don't drink soda, but the way they presented it made me want to try it. So YouTube fed me something good. And then I like went down that rabbit hole because I wanted to check out like what else like this dude had posted, and it was exactly what I thought it was. QAnon shit. He was a Q boomer. And I was like, God damn. But he's got some based soda takes, that's for sure. He's got some base soda takes. Oh well. every year I probably go through my subscription feed and I weed out things. Like, and it's not like anything personal. It's just like, you know, like maybe I subscribed to somebody because it was like a tutorial for something, and then they're just like streaming 50 times, or they're not doing any more tutorials, and then I unsub, or I know more often than not, it's because somebody quit and I didn't know they quit. They just did it respectfully, like how you're supposed to do. Just like silently delete fucking everything and just go about your business, go about your life. And I've had a lot of those where I'm like, huh, I wonder who this was. They have like a blank profile picture. I have a lot of channels that have been terminated for odd reasons that I've had to cull out. Just random copyright. Like you'll notice, like the algorithm or the bots will come in and start scanning for some obscure content that was sold to some conglomerate media house, and now they're flagging things, and then somebody's old videos are gone. So lately, and this is true, I've been going on archive.org for my media consumption. Like if I ever feel nostalgic for a YouTuber, chances are there was a fan that archived their work. And a buddy of mine, I actually went back, a buddy of mine, Silent Rob, he had, his channel was flagged down by the irate gamer. And this was like early 2010 or something. Like Silent Rob was one of the first critics of Chris Borez, the irate gamer. He's essentially like the first AVGN copycat. And Silent Rob like kind of made the first content cop, if you will. Now that I think about it, Silent Rob like made the first content cop, and it was on the irate gamer when nobody else was calling him out. Like irate gamer back in the day was being pushed like more than James, if you could believe it. And Silent Rob didn't think that was fair because obviously Chris was copying everything like almost word for word in some cases of what AVGN was doing, which he later defended, by the way. Like irate gamer was just like, oh yeah, I was inspired by him. I wasn't trying to hide that. Yeah, right. Yeah, right, dude. So Silent Rob made this whole expose video on the irate gamer like way back in the day, and Chris was, or irate gamer was a part of, I think, Machinima or one of the other MCNs at the time. So he had some sway. So whenever he planted a flag down on your channel, that was a death sentence. And I believe that's what happened to Silent Rob's channel. And so like a lot of his early content was presumed missing. But somebody had uploaded and saved it, like even way back when, and posted it up on archive.org. So I kind of like took a trip down memory lane of that old style YouTube. I was like just searching out any old YouTuber I could think. A personal favorite of mine, his name is the Pissed Off Angry Gamer. You've probably seen him, the Nintendo shit cube guy. The Nintendo shit cube. It looks like a fucking chocolate chip cookie. I'm not fucking Russian. I love that guy. His name is Abramov, Eric Abramov. And he resurfaces at least once a year. Eric does. And he puts out some of the funniest content. And it's one of those cases where I don't know if he's being... some parts he's being intentionally funny, and other times it's just serendipitous. He's just hilarious by nature. And I found an entire archive of Abramovs, or Pissed Off Angry Gamers. So I sat and watched him. He put a smile on my face. Link Meth Soda channel. I'll have to check my history. I don't think I subscribed to him ultimately. I'll have to check my history on that one. Hit me up on Twitter. Maybe I might find it. Sorry about that. Let's see. I'm feeling the same thing. YouTube is feeding me prime schizo stuff. Okay. The next super chat. I don't even care what the amount is. I'll tell you the most schizo thing I saw, and I saw really, really recently. I'll tell you the funniest schizo thing I've seen. It's actually more morbid than it is funny. But I'll tell you, next super chat. Who's it going to be? Who's going to be the MVP?
Think you can get it inside mine?
Think you can get it inside mine? Musicology knows who I'm talking about. Shitcube guy. The Nintendo Shitcube. I saw that when it first came out. That'll tell you how old I am. I watched it on a CRT monitor in like 480i or whatever it was. I saw that when it first released. And me and my friend Ryan have been quoting that ever since. And we were crying laughing. It was back whenever you had to like queue up a YouTube video and let it buffer for like an hour to watch 10 minutes. And we watched that one over and over again. Like, he's a king. Abramov is a king in my book. He is a king. Oh, man. I'm getting actual US dollars now. Okay, so it's time to get some more guests. I'm going to go with some easy ones. So the easy ones are these guys right here. We'll get the rest. Just fill it out. Looks good. Didn't that guy end up becoming really religious and making religious videos? Oh, Abramov, the Shitcube guy. Yeah, allegedly, he's Jewish. An Orthodox one at that. Allegedly. But everyone suspects he's just Russian. And he hates it. He hates it whenever you accuse him of being Russian. So that's what's stuck. But Abramov had not trolls remorse. I think he had gooners remorse. Abramov is like one of the biggest gooners around. He would show off like all of his booby mouse pads. He would show off like he had this Bayonetta poster. One of my favorite videos of his is it's just called Bayonetta poster. This is my Bayonetta poster. Oh my god. Look at those fucking... Yeah, you can imagine. So he would like release these uncomfortable videos about what he was gooning to. And then the next video would be him in a kippah. He put on his kippah and then he'd read a passage from the Torah. So he just like, he flowed back and forth between gooning and loving God. So I don't know. I think that's a good dichotomy to have. It's very funny on both ends. But I think somebody is running an archive. You can look up Abramov's stuff on YouTube. He's short and to the point. All of his videos are probably about 1 to 2 minutes max. He gets what he needs to say out, and then he's gone. A true showman. A true showman. He's digging tunnels now. I think he actually lives in New York. That is a distinct possibility that you might run into Abramov in one of those tunnels with his shit cube and his pool stick that he uses to point to things. I always thought he was Russian. He's clearly Russian. Clearly Russian YouTuber Abramov. I don't know. I think he might just be a... I think he, at a certain point, he was a bit self-aware. And that's why he deleted everything. Or somebody he knew found his channel, but... As I said, Abramov was a big gooner. He had, like, videos showing people how to watch porn on their PlayStation 3s, okay? You can watch all the dirty movies you want. I don't even know if it's an erotic moan or it's just like an existential realization moan. But either way, Abramov always just had some in between his thoughts. Gotta love him. Yeah, that whole era, I don't know if I'd call it the golden era of YouTube. There's some people who do consider, the early, first 5 to 6 years of YouTube to be the golden era. At the time, it's all I consumed, so of course I'm nostalgic for it. But there are a lot of rougher aspects. Of course, I mentioned this in my PS3 video I just put out. A lot of it was just like filmed with whatever they had, like a PlayStation Eye, some shitty, like horrible peaking mic, like a headset mic from like a Turtle Beach circa 2005, or an Xbox Live headset that they jerry-rigged to work on their PC, in the dimly lit room. No lighting whatsoever, no script. Fucking this, fucking that, shitload of fuck. That was early YouTube. Like, but I'll throw on a playlist every once in a while and just see what... It's odd, okay? I don't consider myself a huge channel at all, okay? I have 20K subscribers. It's a modest sum. It's a strong core, if you will. I have a strong core audience of people that I see. But in retrospect, some of the people that I grew up watching, they were big fish when they were like 5,000. Like 5,000 subs was a big deal back then. It's insane to think about. Like now there's like millions and millions of sub channels that it's because the audience has like the barrier to entry is much lower now than it's ever been on YouTube. You actually had to plug things in to get a channel back in the day. You might have actually had to own a PC with Windows Movie Maker. You don't even need that anymore, okay? You just need a cell phone and a harebrained idea in 10 seconds. It's peak saturation, my friends. Peak saturation. Oh, well, let's get a Chinese restaurant. Hello, handsome gamers. Hello, It's Fairly Gamer. I think in the chat here, Fairly Gamer might be one of my oldest subs. I want to say. Hey, we got an Ono Micho. All right, let's get this Chinese restaurant built. Fairly Gamer, how long have you been subscribed to me? Just so I'm clear on this matter. I know you've been around since probably close to the beginning. Like what is the first video of mine you remember watching? It's usually a good gauge of how long somebody's been rolling with me. All right, we're going to put it right there so you can get burgers or Chinese. Wait. There we go. Perfect. I just upgraded Ichiban's house, so I am going to have to put some more decorations in there. I'm going to redo the flooring maybe. How about that? Let's see what we got here. Those are just... So you got a bunch of fences, trees. Oh, these are road tiles, right? Woody tiles. Let's just buy this blood splatter. We'll just throw that up in there. Ooh. I like these evening windows, Japanese style. Just some garbage. We'll get a couple of these. We'll see what happens. Fairly Gamer says, I've been subbed since Atlas USA contest video. Oh my god. That might have been year 2. I want to say that was year 1 or year 2 of my channel. Fairly Gamer is an OG. Shout out. All right. Yeah, play that Boko 2 translation for clubs. Hilltop put it out, I believe. And it's kind of weird how that all worked out too, because not to toot my own horn, but I think I was the first person on YouTube in the English-speaking category to talk about Boku 2. I had purchased Boku 2 in Seattle randomly at a record store. I don't know what it was doing there, but I just found this loose Japanese PS2 game there. But then again, SeaTac, the Seattle International Airport there, does take in a lot of Japanese expats, or a lot of Japanese people live in Seattle. So it could have just been some gamers copied and they traded it in their collection. They were done with it. But yeah, I got it for like $4 at a record shop in Seattle way back in the day. And it was one of those series that I had known about for a while, but I didn't know enough Japanese to truly get into them. I know a little bit now, but I don't read kanji without a translator app. I'm not there yet. So I'm glad that Hilltop put out a translation. I haven't sat down to play it again since the translations come out, but eventually I'll give it a crack. I recently played through Boku 3 for my PS3 video, and that is still a disc-only game. And it's got some neat new mechanics in there, too. But it's more of the same, essentially. Yeah, I got that arcade there. What are we playing on that arcade? Game Changer. It's like, what do they call that? The NES 5 or something like that? The NES, the regular Nintendo, had its own line of arcade. I forget what that's called. A true OG. I think so too. I unironically think you made the TL happen. You think I made the TL happen? I don't think I did. There was a guy, his name is Action Button, I think, put out a ridiculously long video on the Boku game, so like maybe that got the ball rolling more than I did, but I know I'm probably the first person to talk about it in general. So, I mean, no, I'm not going to take the credit of Hilltop at all. They put in the work. They put in the work for sure. Wow, 30 people in here. Welcome, welcome, everyone. If you would, I'm going to remind you. My thumb just kissed that keyboard for you. If you put it up at the screen at the same time, it's like we touch thumbs. Alright, I got all my stuff done for the day. There's pirates attacking, so I gotta go beat up some pirates. They're trying to destroy one of my houses. My lodging. Upgrading the bat has been the best investment. I just cleared through those fools like it was nothing. I'm gonna go fishing since I unlocked that new island. There's some rare fish over there. I could probably sell them for a lot of money. And then I should probably expand another bit of the island while I'm at it. Alright, here we are. So there's no more turn-based combat. Not on Dondoko Island. There is turn-based combat in the main game. And I prefer the turn-based combat. And that's only because I've played every Yakuza game and spin-off there is. and Like a Dragon 7 or Yakuza 7 and 8 have been a breath of fresh air. Like, this is more of my taste, if you will. I've loved every Yakuza game for the most part, except Dead Souls. But this one just has it has something in there for everyone. This is one of the largest games. This is the largest game in the series, but like one of the, I believe they said 300 hours to 100%. 300 hours to 100% this game. That's a guess. I'm sure there will be people that lower the average, but according to RGG, they said about 300 hours. So I'm not even close to 100 hours yet. I think I'm about 30 hours. So got a long ways to go. Oh, I got a Neil. Nice. All right. That's good fishing. Yeah, my only gripe with Dondoko Island is the days are quite short, and my attention is split so many different ways. Like, I want to go accomplish multiple things. I think I might have to just stop doing the dailies. The dailies are the daily missions that you see on the right-hand side there. They don't really give you a whole ton of stuff, but it's something to focus on. But I think I'm going to go clear out another part of the island. Because I already accomplished getting the burger shop. That was kind of my main thing I wanted to do. So we'll clear out some of the island. Nav says, never like turn-based combat except when it's in Heroes of Might and Magic. Also, hello. Nav, this isn't bad. And if you really don't like the combat all that much, you can turn it on to auto, and it'll take care of it for you. But there is a lot of strategy. There's so many different jobs that you can unlock. One of my new favorite ones is called the Desperado. It's essentially the cowboy role. There's some other ones which I won't spoil, but the original game had, I want to say, about 10 different job classes, and I think there was 2 DLC on top of that, and those were decent. I went through and I 100%ed the first Like a Dragon game, Yakuza 7. It's a misnomer because they're all technically Like a Dragon games, but whatever. I enjoyed that one so much, and this one is just like overwhelming in a sense because I don't know what to put my focus on. Because once you're in the game, there's like, oh, here's 5 other separate games running in tandem. Here's an entire Pokemon game called Sujimon. Go collect these people, or do all the side quests, or, you know, you just get lost in all these different loops. But this one I feel is the most satisfying so far. Dondoko. Oh man, I'm unlocking all these stores. Alright, time to set some stuff down. I'm just gonna... This is my construction zone. Don't come this way. We'll put a lamp there. And a lamp. Oh, it's on a separate grid. Have to go over here. But you can just hop in. It's no big deal. Boom. Perfect. That's almost even. Alright, whatever. My goal for tomorrow is, I think the next thing to clear is over here. So I gotta build a bridge. I gotta make enough money to build a bridge to clear out that area behind me. So let's see what that is. Okay, so I can't head over to this part until I increase my rank. So there's another spot that I haven't checked out. The most exciting thing about that state of play was Death Stranding 2. And let the record show that Hikiko was always a fan of Death Stranding. My watch face is even Death Stranding themed. I own some Death Stranding merch. I platinum Death Stranding 1 before I got the director's cut. I made a video praising Death Stranding. I always thought it was cool. And now, everyone looking at that trailer and seeing the vast world and all the potential there, they're going to say, like, oh, Death Stranding's redeemed. Oh, I actually like it now. Oh, it's actually good. No, Death Stranding was always good. Yeah, Philistines. Death Stranding was always good. I died on that hill, and now I'm living on it. Living out in the open. I am out of the Death Stranding closet. I'm bursting wide out. I love that game. I enjoyed it, honestly, more than the more recent Metal Gears, if I'm being honest. I like radical departures from formats or new ideas in general. Even though, like, it's not a perfect game, for sure. And there was room to expand upon, which is what they seem to be doing. The story does make sense, and it recaps it for you at the very end again for you in case you get lost. And it came out at the perfect time for me, like when I had a lot of free time on my hands. And I set up my 5.1 surround sound system for the first time ever. I set up a 5.1, and I just got totally engrossed and immersed in Death Stranding. And I don't know if I'll be able to recapture the same kind of magic, like it just hit me at the right time in my life. But gosh darn it, I liked it. And let it be known that I liked it from the beginning. Hikiko was on board, unwavering loyalty to Kojima. No, I wouldn't say that far, but I just really loved it. And I think it was just because I didn't feel the pressure of like most open world games, like where there's all these NPCs always breathing down my neck. It was just like setting simple goals, simple hikes, building structures, passively helping other people play. Like that sense of network that they were going for, I think it really struck well with me. It didn't hit everyone out there, and they called it a cum delivery simulator, whatever they called it. Like, I get it. I understand it's memeable. But I thought it was phenomenal. And it's one of those games that sparked my imagination in so many ways because, as I said, it's flawed in some respects. There's a lot of, I guess the director's cut kind of added more content that I haven't really dug into. But when I was sitting there thinking, it's like, imagine like setting up intricate networks of zip lines and conveyor belts, and then automating this and that, and having other porters that you run into, like how much more this could grow, this concept could grow. And I don't know, I kind of fell in love just in contemplation of maybe a better game, but I just thought the pieces were there. And what I did play, I loved. Alexster says, haven't checked that video, watch after the stream. Are you playing on the Xbox or the PC? I am playing on the Steam Deck, which is, I guess, the PC, to answer your question. And it's playing at Steam Deck settings. But I capped it to 30. Like, it is capable of running at 60 frames, but it's just kind of more of an inconsistent frame rate in spots. So I just capped it to 30 for the stream. Besides, not a lot of people watch YouTube in 60 frames as it is. So I figured I'd take it easy on my Steam Deck today. All right. Let's see what else. Hey, guys, does this work on the Series X by just putting in the disc, says Cedric? Probably as an Xbox One game, if I had to guess. That's how Microsoft has been doing it, or whoever publishes the disc. they'll put the Xbox One version and then force you to require a download of like 50 gigs or something to get the Series X build. Unless it specifically says Xbox Series X. If it says smart delivery on it, then it's probably the Xbox One build, or the build exists on a server somewhere. So, I haven't turned on my Xbox Series X in an entire year, and I don't plan on it. I'm probably going to migrate to being more of a Switch PC gamer. Maybe PS5 for the exclusives, but I'm all but done with Microsoft at this point. Hey, what's up, JR? I just don't vibe with the message of DS, and I think Kojima's a bit too pretentious. Still thought it was a very interesting game. Like, okay, well, what do you expect? Like, I don't understand that perception. Like, I don't like that Kojima's pretentious. He's been pretentious since the beginning. Man, have you listened? Like, if you sit down and listen to any of the geopolitical espionage concepts that are going on in the first Metal Gear, even far back as like the MSX and the NES, like what did you expect? Yes, that's why I turn up. I expect auteurs. I expect people that think differently to make odd games and to kind of, you know, be high off their own supply, if you will, to be a bit pretentious. Like, you know, I want Wes Anderson to just make a rom-com. Okay, I don't want him to do any set design. I don't want him to talk about any existential concepts. Just fart jokes. Can we just have Wes Anderson make Larry the Cable Guy, Tooth Fairy Part 2? Can I see that? Like, what the fuck? He's the right director for that kind of job. Not to shit on you, 4 Clubs, but I like... There are snobs. There are YouTube pretentious guys, or whatever you want to call them, that think that they're so above a Kojima production, that they're so above, you know, letting loose and letting him go wild on the script, or try and explain his conspiratorial concepts or musings about the world in game form. Like, no, you're not above that. You're not above that, Reddit. You actually used to like that until you were told not to like it by somebody I don't know. But you got all up in your head thinking you were above a little bit of pretentiousness, but you're not. Now pretentiousness permeates, like, it's harder to find something that is just a solid, stable game with no message. I'd wager it's even harder to find something like that. The new auteurs are the Pal Worlds out there, I guess. Those are the nouveau artists. The cutting edge is just like going back to the basics, I guess. Let him cook. Let him cook, Zoomer. I'm just fucking with you, 4 Clubs. That wasn't just about you. It's just I'm aiming that in a broader space, because I'm just sick and fucking tired of having to hear somebody prattle on about how they're above Kojima's writing or whatever. It's like, it's always been that way. Like, Death Stranding didn't do anything radically different than what he's already been doing. And you missed it. I wager you missed it when The Phantom Pain came out. In fact, I do recall people regarding there wasn't enough Kojima in that game. What happened? A 5-part retrospective. I don't know, dude. Just like what you like. I don't give a fuck. But for me, I'm not going to apologize for getting lost, for getting immersed in something, for just letting go of my ego and just letting Death Stranding take me to greater heights. Intellectually, perhaps. Fuck that. Have fun. Don't be ashamed of what you like. Base Takiko rants as Swagmister. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I don't know where I was going with that. I just have a general animosity. Just a lingering animosity towards this is all stemming from X-Play and G4, by the way. One of those things I went back and I watched was X-Play. And X-Play was wild. Like Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb back on G4. They quote-unquote reviewed games, but I don't think they actually played or reviewed them or wrote their own content. Because they would make up things that wouldn't exist in games and criticize them for it. They would make fun of, I don't know, they would make a lot of racist remarks that I don't remember that being there. And I certainly couldn't imagine current day Sessler signing off on. There's this, okay, I was on 4chan yesterday, and somebody was talking about G4, and they had a bunch of links to some like odd things that went on, and there was this animated GIF of Morgan Webb taking a menorah off the mantle and just throwing it out the window, and then Adam Sessler just nodding his head in agreement. And I just thought that was the most wild shit I've ever seen. I was like, does Adam remember doing this? Does Morgan Webb remember throwing away this menorah? Would they do it again? I don't know. I just thought that was the wildest shit I ever saw. And then I pulled a clip one time of Adam Sessler. He is like, they're doing the X-Play Awards, so you can find this. There's a G4 archive somewhere. One of the X-Play Awards has this cold open where Adam Sessler's in a tux. He's wearing a tuxedo, and he makes this whole remark about like, are you afraid of social interactions? Do you enjoy setting up model trains? Well, unfortunately, you have autism. I couldn't believe he said it. I couldn't believe he did that. Like, I didn't even know what it had to do with video games, but I was laughing so hard. Because Adam Sessler, like, just dunked on all the autistic people ever, which was probably his core demographic that was watching G4 in 2007, because I know I was. And I had to like rewind it just to make sure that he said that, and he said that. Well, it looks like he got autism. He just diagnosed a bunch of people like, during an award show. What the fuck, Sess? What a low blow. Thank you, JR, for the 5.99 euros.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
I'm sorry about that. I was just those are not my opinions. Those were G4 Adam Sessler opinions, okay? I think anyone can like model trains. Not just one kind of person, anyone. But yeah, like, okay, so back on my main track here. When people criticize Japanese games and stuff, I kind of take personal slight against it just a little bit. The same way, like, you know, people out there who review anime for a living would about people who just don't get it, right? And G4, and to a larger extent, X-Play specifically, always shat on Japanese games. They hated Final Fantasy. Didn't matter. Didn't matter which one it was. They hated Final Fantasy. They hated JRPGs. They just gave them maybe like a 1-minute glance and just trashed all over it, called everyone like low-life weebs. And since I have a humiliation fetish, where strong-jawed women talk shit on my favorite things, I actually enjoyed watching it, and I would tune in for more. Shout out to Morgan. But I don't know what it was, but they were like really hostile in their reviews. You go back and watch those old X-Play videos, they're trashing on like all-time classics. I don't know if they did to like Super Mario Galaxy, but you can imagine they would just take a sacred cow like Super Mario Galaxy or Super Mario Sunshine, say, this piece of crap printed to a disc, it's a 2 out of 5. You know, I feel sometimes I'm too harsh in my criticisms, but no one at G4 gave a fuck back then, right? And then they gave too much of a fuck when they came back and imploded upon itself. Something the completionist. That whole thing. But yeah, so I have kind of like an animosity for people that are just like instantly closed-minded about Japanese developed things or weird games, if you will. Like things outside of the norm. I think people get so married to conventions. Like they subscribe to these game development Bibles or whatever. Like it has to follow a rigid thing to be objectively good, you know? There are a lot of reviewers out there that just like, you know, they still praise things like graphics, like holding graphics up to a higher standard and elevating the score. Like to me, you all know like Deadly Premonition is one of my all-time favorite games. So you kind of know that to some degree I have an open mind to odd things that I guess exist outside of the mainstream, if you will. So in a way, I'm kind of a snob. But I think it's just the hive mind mentality behind that sort of things. Like big YouTuber comes out, says something is objectively bad, like gives a whole filibuster about why you should boycott X game or do this or do that, and why this director and what their true intentions were. And I can totally get in their headspace. We're going to have a Will Graham moment, okay? I am the criminal profiler, and I have to observe. I got to put myself in Kojima's headspace. I'm going to do that, okay? And then I'm going to go into the crime scene. I'm going to go into Kojima Studios, and then I'm going to recreate what each individual 3D modeler was doing at the exact moment in time, and why he said this, and the meaning of this. And they just, like, lose their mind about it. And fundamentally speaking, I can forgive a lot of things. As I said, I wouldn't call myself a sweary apologist by any stretch. I've criticized him enough, but I'm not 100% on the camp of like writing something off based on past works. You know, giving somebody another chance. Like if they made something I really liked and they put out a string of, you know, a few so-so games, I'm not going to just, you know, say I'm never going to check out their games anymore because they disappointed me this one time here or there. Or claim I know what they were thinking at the time. You got to be careful with that. A lot gets lost in translation. I've caught myself a couple of times, like I'll be reading an interview with Suda51, and if you know anything about Suda51, is he's always joking all the time. He's sarcastic. He never means really what he says, and when he does mean something he says, you don't believe him. And it's really hard to parse what he's thinking, and I don't even know he knows what he's thinking. So when I'm reading an interview with him, even though it's a direct source, like he is the primary source of the information, I still have to take it with an extreme grain of salt because it's Suda51 and he's Japanese and it's being translated by somebody who may not exactly have his true intentions come out in the translation, or he was being sarcastic, or this, that, and the other. Like, I don't think you can truly know what goes on in someone's head, regardless of, you know, if they're a game developer, regardless of what they said or what their influences are. You can kind of get somewhat of a framework, but never all the minute details. So, I don't know, dudes. I'm just kind of against the idea that YouTubers know better. as I am a YouTuber who thinks sometimes he knows better. I just don't think they, like, know better than Kojima does for what he was trying to accomplish for Death Stranding. And that's my piece on that. Super chat means Hikiko will now tell us about the experience with SchizoTube. Okay. Hold on. Let me get a big swig here. Oh, God. I saw the craziest thing ever yesterday. Possibly the craziest thing I've ever seen on YouTube, but I've seen it. I mean, I've been here a long time, so it's hard to say. But I was on Twitter, and I was linked to a YouTube video where a man named Moan, I think his name was Justin Moan, was the YouTuber. He was a YouTuber. He had a channel, and I think he had about 4 or 5 subscribers when I checked out his channel. The video I checked out was called Moan's Militia. I believe it's a really long title, but the title of this video was called Moan's Militia. In the beginning of this video, this was yesterday, it was up for like 8 hours, because I checked on it like twice, like how the fuck is this still up here? Because my shit gets flagged all the time. In the beginning of this video, this man holds up a bucket that contains a severed head, which turned out to be the head of his father, who was also a government agent. This dude decapitated his dad, held it up on stream, held up the head on stream in a bucket, moved it around a bit. It was like in a plastic bag. It looked like a Costco chicken, if I'm being real with you. And he went on a whole ramble about Joe Biden or something, and woke Disney. I think he was just like going off about woke Disney and Biden or something. Like he didn't have. I don't think he had any of his like channels he was subscribed to, like visible, because I would have laughed my ass off if like the #1 pinned channel was like the quartering or something. And the quartering just like MK Ultra triggered this guy, and he just I can't stand the new Marvel movie. Time to decapitate my dad or something. Like it was the quartering that set this dude off. But this dude had a psychotic episode. He decapitated his dad. He held up his dad's head in a bucket and went on a whole ramble about Joe Biden, woke Disney, and how he was activating his militia. This dude said he had a militia, which was like 4 subscribers maybe. And he said, "All right, militia, time to activate." Like code green or code red, code dad bucket in a head. You know what this means. Meet up. And this video was up there for like 8 hours, which is a long time. I've had videos that got instantly flagged and weren't able to be birthed upon YouTube, and Mr. Decapitated Dad Head just instantly approved, probably even monetized. Probably didn't even have a yellow dollar sign that he had to dispute. Imagine if he did. Like if some fucking like copyright house like came by and he's like, actually no, this is all OC. This is all original content under the fair use guidelines. And then he like he fucking disputes back and forth, and they finally release the video. He's like, okay, green dollar sign. And then it's live. And then, like, you know, at the very end, make sure to like and subscribe. No, like, that video was up for 8 hours. Decapitated head of this dude's federal agent dad. 8 hours it was up there. And people are like, what the fuck? How's this still up? Like, the comments were just like, how the fuck is this still up? And it got a lot. I mean, the ratio was pretty positive. I think it ended up at around, like, 44,000 views before it was yanked. I mean, this dude unlocked the algorithm or something. Like he was playing the game. He's got to figure it out. That's all you got to do. But yeah, that shit was up for 8 hours, and then it got posted to Twitter and then spread around. And it's on national news. I don't know what the tag is, but the guy whose name is Moan. M-A or M-O-A-N. Moan. Justin Moan was the guy. And he was like a musician or something on YouTube. Like he made like a bunch of like weird Christian rap. And I guess the guy thought he was the Messiah. You know, he had a Messiah complex and some sort of delusion. And he made a bunch of Christian rap. But his biggest video, his most popular video on the channel was his decapitated dad. And so what happened was, after he uploaded that video, I think he's from Philly or something. Like the Justin guy was from Philly. After that, he left his dad's, I don't know what happened with his dad's head, okay? He left his decapitated body, like the torso and everything, downstairs. And like somebody who was subscribed to him, or like a Facebook friend or something, saw the video and called the cops. And the cops found his father's corpse, but I don't know if they found the head. And then Justin Moan, the guy, the YouTuber, went across the country to some Army Reserve base because he thought the militia was going to meet him there. Moan's Militia is what he called it. And they didn't show up. It was just the military this time. And now I think he's in federal prison or something. And this all happened within a day. It happened like in the middle of the night or something. I caught the story like right as it was in the middle of it, so halfway through. And yeah, so probably the most disturbing shit I've seen on YouTube in a while. And that's my story. Is it M-O-H-N? Yeah. Most fucked up thing I've seen on YouTube lately was that guy who climbed an electricity tower and got vaulted. Yeah, I've probably seen a few of those. I've seen a lot of, like, Chinese factory things. Like, just no safety standards. People get caught in a thresher, some horrible shit, or a gear. Like, just seeing somebody tumbling through a gear and they're just lifeless. But no, don't ever look that up. It's important to have OSHA, ladies and gentlemen. Live in a country that has federal regulations when it comes to heavy machinery. Justin Moan, that's his name, yeah. His music was out there too. And I guess like he was like extremely rich. This guy, and he was jacked too. Like I saw some of his profile pictures because of course when somebody does something that crazy, you start snooping on their Facebook. So this dude was jacked. I don't know if he was on roids or gear or whatever, but and he also thought he was Jesus. So, combination of many things. I don't know why. I'm not even going to begin to comprehend what his motivations were, or if there were any at all. Twitter has become live leak. Yeah, in a sense it has. Twitter is like so broken nowadays. I don't know how to say it, but somebody leaked the entirety of the new SpongeBob movie. I think there's like a SpongeBob movie starring Sandy, the squirrel. And somebody got like a work print of it or something. Like the movie's not even out. And they uploaded, they're like, I'm just going to go ahead and upload this whole movie. And the whole movie was up there for a whole day. And then like somebody's like, I'm going to upload all of Oppenheimer. And then they just do it. And then nobody does anything about it. I'm really not sure. I think like everywhere else, Twitter severely scaled back on its workforce. So a lot of things are slipping through the cracks. But the thing is, like, if I take notice of these things, like if the SpongeBob movie hits my feed, then it's gone too far. Because if it's reaching me, then it's reached millions by that point. It's hard to parse nowadays, like, what's authentic anymore. I used to teach English when I was a young buck in my 20s. I was an English teacher, and whenever we would give out research essays, we were teaching like how to build a bibliography, how to do a works cited, how to cite your sources, what are reputable sources. And as I said, that was a long time ago when I was teaching, but not that long ago. And I can't imagine going and teaching an English class and trying to explain what the fuck an authentic source is anymore. Well, it could be an authentic source, or it could be a prompt generated by AI. It could be completely fabricated deepfake. You really have to examine the pixels. You may also want to, get a grasp on Photoshop nowadays. I don't even know where to begin. I don't think there's a way to, stop disinformation anymore. The most absurd shit, the most extreme shit is what I tend to believe. Decapitated head in a bucket on YouTube? That's so crazy I have to believe it. Always teach the kids not to do a heckin' plagiarism. I don't know if that's possible. Because plagiarism is rewarded in this day and age. It really is. It's called... There's a quote that I used to say. I didn't come up with this quote, but it's a quote that I had to accept when I got into YouTube. Pioneers die where settlers thrive. Or pioneers die and settlers thrive. Which essentially means, if you're going out there... Uh-oh. Did my game freeze? Hold on. Okay, my Steam Deck just had a hiccup. Okay. Pioneers die and settlers thrive. The premise of that is... It's kind of universal. It applies to, almost any medium, almost any trade in life. Any sort of exploration of the human condition. Pioneers take all the risk. Pioneers go out, they explore new territory, they bear the brunt of putting in the work, of gathering the crew, of making a living. They put themselves at risk, they put everyone else around them at risk in some way, but the pioneers are the first ones out there discovering the uncharted stuff, right? That is your initial seed, if you will, of content. That's kind of how it is on YouTube. There's somebody out there that discovers something, they share it, and then settlers come in later on, 5 years later, 10 years later, and they discover this already discovered land. These topics that have already been discussed ad nauseum. But all the work's done. All the homework's done. Everything's researched. All they have to do is read Reddit or Wikipedia or whatever. And the work's done for them. So they just have to regurgitate all the already researched shit with really no investment, no hardship, no work behind it. And all the interesting parts, they can just boil it down to all the summary, here's the climax, and here's what happened, and then this, and this, and this, and here's what happened. And that's kind of how it is right now as a content creator. You see this a lot in true crime. There's only so much crime out there in the world that's interesting enough to talk about. So every true crime podcast all have their own podcast on the same exact murder case. They never do any, first-hand interviews with any witnesses or people that were there or anyone that was impacted by it. They all just go off of somebody else's research. And that's what's happening with DramaTube. DramaTube is nothing but that. People like rehashing like this Game Dude video that just came out. Like this Game Dude shit has been known about for a decade. And Mr. Medicare had already covered it. And it was done. Right? Oh, and then somebody else covered it. And then somebody else covered it. And then somebody else covered it. Over and over and over. And like no new information, as far as I'm concerned, has come out about Game Dude. Because I would know. I would know. I'm actually friends with Game Dude. I am a first-hand source. I was subbed to him. But I'm just saying, it's like that may happen with music, that may happen with movies, with something larger to say about remakes and remake culture. But there's a concept, and this is going to be like my last tangent for this stream. I love you guys, but I gotta wrap it up at some point. So this is going to be my last tangent. There's this concept that's been put out there called stuck culture. S-T-U-C-K culture. Stuck culture. The 2000s, all right? So the millennium, the new millennium, we're 24 years into this millennium. It feels like eras of time do not exist in the same way, right? You had the 50s, you had the free love movement and the hippies of the 60s, you have the 70s, you have the 80s, the 90s. Everything had its own distinct culture about it. It's its own distinct era of time in the decade. Like you could even say like the new millennium, the early 2000s, like the adoption of broadband and faster processors and stuff, and then the advent of smartphones, right? Really, after I feel like the advent of smartphones, everything kind of got stuck, right? This isn't my theory, by the way. This is just something that I'm regurgitating. So, we just stopped having eras that really mattered. Typically, an era can be defined by something like war. For me, it was like probably 9/11. That whole era is defined by that. The War on Terror. Something along those lines. There's landmarks based on a war or something significant. But I would say since 9/11, really nothing has impacted our culture to a significant degree outside of like smartphones and social media. Probably for the worse. But in terms of style, in terms of like what people look like, everyone kind of has a subculture that they now occupy, right? Everyone's kind of splintered off into their own personal bubbles based around like social media, based around their interests or their hobbies or whatever, and they've isolated to a certain degree. So, but a lot of it is also based off of things that had come before, right? Retro is in. Or, people getting nostalgic. Like, there's all these humongous, marketing campaigns based around nostalgia and remakes and stuff. And remember this, and this is going to be as good. It's just like you remembered, and da-da-da-da-da. Like, people are getting nostalgic for McDonald's toys. It's fucking sad. Like, Chicken McNugget buddies. Okay, they weren't even that great back then. Like, grown-ass people going out there buying up all these like Halloween like Happy Meal buckets, right? They're these like Halloween Happy Meal buckets that came out in the 90s. They brought them back. They didn't even have lids or anything. And then you have like 40-year-old dudes just like buying them up. Pokemon cards, not for the kids anymore. Still for me. I don't know. You have a society of people that are stuck in arrested development, if you will. That's part of stuck culture. Like not growing up, being stuck in your childhood, trying to recapture your childhood. And that's like very prevalent within the retro gaming community. Like people that collect more than they play. And that's any culture or that's any collecting community. But I see it a lot in the retro gaming community. But there's really no generation defining thing about 2024, if you will. Or the 2020s. We're in the 20s. And it's kind of sad and harrowing. And I don't know what to make of it. Like, how do you get unstuck? Like, what is it? What is it that is influential anymore? You know, it's what the algorithm decides. It's what the AI decides, or what the engineers that work for the big corpo that's programming the AI decides. Even though we are kind of we're in a free culture, at least, you know, I'm saying free to a limited extent. We're in a free culture. It seems like everything has already been done. There's like nothing new under the sun. What we're going to consume has been chosen for us, has been like algorithmically targeted towards us, and everyone's making derivatives of better things to come before it, or more sanitized versions of better things to come before it. I believe it was HBO, or Max as it's called now. HBO was like looking at its statistics on what viewers were watching on its streaming platform, like what exclusives they were watching, and they were disheartened to find that most people were still just watching The Sopranos. Something that came out in like 1998, and that's me. I'm that kind of subscriber. I'm still watching just The Sopranos because all the new stuff that they're pushing, no one's really interested in it. And like, if they are, they'll watch it once and they won't return to it because it's substanceless. There's really nothing defining about it. Nothing that keeps you coming back or gives you something to contemplate or, coming back with a new perspective. It's just like all meaningless filler content. So people were on the whole watching more stuff like Sopranos and Sex and the City and just old HBO programming, and they wanted nothing to do with all the new shit that they're putting out, and that pissed them off. I don't know what they're gonna do about it. It's like you can't bring back James Gandolfini. I would say about like 70% of the Sopranos cast is dead or dying. So, and they already tried, by the way. They tried to bring back the Sopranos with the Many Saints of Newark, and it wasn't good. And they had James Gandolfini's son in there who did an all right job, but it wasn't really a Tony Soprano story on the whole. And that's what really everyone wanted, but you can't, bring back the dead. But I think they're going to try. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Like, it's this weird techno-futurism space we occupy, like where they've experimented with commercials. Like, I believe they brought back Chris Farley to advertise something. It was like a Tommy Boy commercial. David Spade gave it his approval. Like, David Spade was in there. But, I mean, like, that's still fucked up. Like, Chris Farley probably didn't want anything to do with that. You have AI-generated voices that are going around. Like, somebody made a fucking George Carlin album. And I think, like, George Carlin's family are suing the people that did that. But they made a whole, like, stand-up album of things George Carlin might say about 2023. Shit like that's disturbing. And I feel there was like a recent like Writers and Actors Guild strike, and they were talking. I think like one of the big ballot items was like no perpetual rights to my likeness, and that's important. It's important to like let people go, let people die. Like, don't try and bring them back into some weird homunculus thing. But I think there's a certain sector of people that are so wrapped up in celebrity culture and worship that they wouldn't care. Like, it wouldn't mean anything to them. They're like, oh, yeah, my favorite actor's back. Finally, we're getting an Uncle Buck 2 with John Candy. He's back. That's my nightmare. Some things are better left in the past. Sometimes dead is better. And I just have like these I'm not going to paint myself into a corner, okay? AI is emerging technology. We have, it happens every decade. There's some new scary thing out there that adds more automation to our lives. So I'm not going to like sit here and say I'm never going to use AI. I use AI all the time. I use AI as part of my Adobe Cloud. I use AI to augment my voice and remove the S sounds and plosives and fix peaking and damaged audio and stuff. And you can use generative fill to, crop out something. Like, I'm not entirely against it, okay? I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'm kind of sick of it. I will say that. I think that's a reasonable take, is I'm sick of the uncanny valley thing that triggers every time I open up Facebook or Twitter or some shit, where you see something that kind of looks like it's real, but it's not, and it's shiny, or AI upscale and it's glossy and weird. That gets triggered for me daily. And I don't know if that's ever going to stop. I have used AI to help me organize lists, just to save me a fuck ton of time. So, for example, this is what I did for my last video. I used AI. I used GPT. I wrote down a list of games that I was interested in checking out, and it was just off the top of my head. And I had about like 40 games that I probably had more than that, but I had 40 games that I was interested in covering. And I said, okay, ChatGPT, alphabetize this list, and right next to it, put the year it was released, and then after that, the developer. And that's all I had it do. And it spat it out, it alphabetized it, it gave me the release year and the developer, and then boom, I was off and running. That saved me like an hour of work, possibly. And then I double check things too. It's not like I completely trusted it either, because there are plenty of times where ChatGPT gets things wrong. Like when I was experimenting with Excel and trying to organize a data set I was working on. I do some of those things in my personal life. And ChatGPT broke, and it kept repeating like the same integers and everything. And I was like, okay, I can't depend on it for this thing, but I can depend on it for alphabetization, and that's good enough for me. Or charting years of things. But you can use it as a tool, but also double check its work. Anyway, so as I said, I'm not fully opposed to AI. I don't want to trash on people. I don't believe it's fully, like, there are some doomsayers that think AI is going to remove the artist element. I've yet to see AI art that completely looks better than somebody that had a concept in mind, right? AI can kind of create a facsimile of what that's you might not have had in mind, but I don't think it's fully going to replace the real OG artists. Like, I still Photoshop my own thumbnails and stuff. I make dioramas and shit like that. Like, if I typed in PlayStation 3 diorama with this and this and this, you're gonna end up with gamepads with 7 buttons and random text thrown about it and cables coming out looking like a fucking Lovecraftian horror. I'm not saying it's never gonna get there, but I'm just thinking it doesn't have the logic capable of sequencing and thinking in terms of layers. And if you're a photo editor like yours truly, you think in terms of layers and what's in focus, what's in center, the position of things. And I don't think it's entirely there enough for me to be worried. Like, I don't think AI is going to replace my thumbnails. I don't think I've fucked around with AI voice just for shits and giggles, like where you do a voice print. Like you feed it a sample of a voice for like a minute or two, and then it tries to match tonality. But it still feels kind of wooden and off. And I'm not saying it won't get there, but I'm saying like it's not there enough for me to feel like I could be fully replaced. It's not even there enough to fix my mistakes, because I thought there's this program I was tooling around with where you feed it a script, right? So I fed it just a page of my script, and I gave it a minute of my voice samples just to see if it would read my script in the way I would. And it didn't. It mispronounced words. It added pauses and inflections in places that made no sense. And the areas in which I flubbed, so I did an initial recording and I was hoping the AI would help me cover up a flub I made. It couldn't even do that. It was just like it was far more tedious to generate a script, to record a voice sample, and then have the AI constantly generate new examples of that than it was to just re-record the line. So like for me in my workflow, there's no way I'm going to incorporate voice training AI into my workflow. It just, now if it did make my workflow easier, like if it was like a one button, one click solution, I would consider it for sure. I mean, we're all going to get old one day. Old Hikiko may not be able to splice too many frames together, and if the AI could help in that in some way, if there's some form of assistive technology to be found in that, then good. Like, see, that's why, okay, last bit here. The reason why, and this is my soapbox here, I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater here. I don't want to throw AI voice technology out, or AI generative language out. It's because it could truly help people in an assistive way. Like if they are nonverbal, or they have like ALS, or they have some form of disability that prevents them from communicating, and AI gives them a voice or helps them restore their voice, like Val Kilmer, for example. The actor Val Kilmer had throat cancer, and they used kind of like a Stephen Hawking kind of situation, wherever they took samples of Val Kilmer's voice and they generated it, and he could actually speak and narrate using his voice that he no longer has access to. So as I said, like it's there's some positives and some negatives to the whole thing. And it's emerging technology. I don't want to come out completely against it, because, as I said, it could be extremely helpful for somebody out there. And it could have more unforeseen benefits. And I think, like, if you're going to paint yourself into a corner very early on before you can grasp the, like, complexities at hand here, then, I don't know, you're going to make yourself look foolish in some way. So I'm trying to avoid that aspect of it. Not fully on board, but not willing to press the button that deletes AI forever. All right. So that said, this has been the cool stream. I think we got, like, what is it, 2.5 hours? Not a bad stream, not a bad stream. Almost 3 hours. Thank you so much for showing up. Get all your last questions in. I'm going to give my shout-outs. I think I got no major progress done on Dondoko, but that's okay. It was quite relaxing. Shout out to Alexter, Reluctant Reader, Cedric, Backay, Spokes. Hey, I just saw you in here, Spokes. Thanks for joining. I see you on Twitter sometimes. Musicology had something, but retract the Spoonie era. Okay. Jeremy Stewart, thanks. I had a couple of super chats in here. Thank you for the super chats. Insomniathon next stream. The next stream will be after the next video. I try and spread them out just because I don't want to be a full-time streamer. Okay, I feel I'm more of a edited content producer, so I'm going to be putting out a pretty big video. I wouldn't, not as big as my last one, but an edited video, a produced video. And then generally after that, I usually stream. So it's like usually a produced video, a stream, a produced video, a stream. So sometime in February. Thanks, man. Thank you, guys. Sonny Khan, AI voice technology is great for shit posting. Good enough for me. Yeah, it can be funny that way. As long as it's funny. God bless everyone, says 4 Clubs. Coconut, thanks for the cool stream. Thanks for showing up, Coconut, with your Kyle Hyde avatar. With your Kyle Hyde avatar. I see you. I see you, Coconut. I got something special coming down the pipeline for you. Can I go ahead and spoil it? You all probably know what I'm working on. Should I spoil it? Ugh. 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 What's this? What's this? Something related to this. Can you read that? I don't know if you can read that. That's what I'm working on. I filmed all my B-roll for that. And it also relates to this. Right there. Right there. Another video no one's gonna watch. Your niche content that nobody watches. YouTube's demoting you right now. You held it up on stream. You're getting shadow banned. Yeah. This is kind of one of those personal videos, right? You make a mainstream video and then you make a personal video. This is more of the personal video camp. Trace Memory, the first one, was one of my hardest videos. Like when I was first starting out, it was one of the hardest videos I ever made because it was a DS game. And my nightmare is making a DS retrospective because there's so many different orientations. The 2 screens just add a nightmare amount of work to editing. A nightmare amount of work to editing. But I've already got all the footage of Trace Memory. I've got all the footage of another Kodar. Got all the footage of the Recollection. I played them. I didn't just rip them off of YouTube and pretend I played them and read Wikipedia. I actually played them. I wrote a lot of notes, and I'm still going through them. I want to make this like a 20-minute video, but I think it might be a little longer because it's 4 games worth, if you think about it. It's 4 games in one, so it's like a nightmare to edit. Okay, so please be patient with me. I wanted to get it out earlier, but after that PS3 video, I needed some self-care time with Yakuza, with some Infinite Wealth and Dondoko. And I did actually beat another code. It took me 17 hours to beat both of them together. And I did a test for Does It Play. This plays completely offline, 1.0 version. So if you're worried about it, it's completely fine. It's fine. You can buy the cart and play it now in the future. So good news. You have radio voice, says Insomniathon. Thank you. A lot of people say I have Jackbox voice or Saul Goodman voice, which I've now accepted both as a compliment. So thank you. All right. Well, thanks a lot,